The first snow had barely settled when the great bull moose stepped out from the forest's edge. His breath rose in silver clouds, and atop his massive head spread antlers that looked as if they had been carved by the frost itself, broad, proud, and heavy with the weight of battles won. For months, those antlers had been his crown, his weapons, and his signal to the world that he was strong enough to defend his place. But deep within, something was changing. The forest knew before he did. The chickadees' calls softened, the deer moved with less urgency, and the cold deepened its hold. Winter was not a time for show. It was a time for survival. The moose's body, tuned to the ancient rhythms of nature, began to sense that his great antlers, once a blessing, were now a burden. Every step through the thick snow was a little harder. Every swing of his head pulled at his weary neck. He had carried them through the rut, when the crisp autumn air rang with the echoes of antler against antler. He had fought challengers in the golden mist of September mornings, locked horns with rivals in the twilight, and emerged victorious. Those victories had earned him the right to mate, to pass on his strength to the next generation. The battles were fierce, but they were necessary, and now they were over. The antlers had done their job. Nature had no reason for him to keep them any longer. In fact, they were now more danger than advantage. Food would be scarce, and every ounce of energy mattered. Carrying an extra 40 pounds of bone through snowdrifts was not a luxury his body could afford. So without his conscious choice, his body began to prepare. Cells deep inside the base of his antlers, the pedicles, started breaking down the bone tissue that anchored them to his skull. Bit by bit they loosened, as if invisible hands were unfastening a crown. One morning, as he pushed through a stand of birch, a branch caught the edge of his antler. There was a sharp jolt, not pain exactly, but a release, like the final thread snapping from a frayed rope. The antler dropped into the snow with a muffled thud. The moose stood still for a moment, as if startled by the sudden lightness. He shook his head, and the other antler tumbled free, landing beside the first. He lowered his nose to them. They smelled of sap, soil, and the wild energy of the autumn past. For a brief moment, he lingered over them, as if remembering the rival bulls, the crisp air, the pounding of hooves in the frost. But the moment passed. With a snort, he turned away and moved deeper into the forest, lighter, swifter, ready to face the months of cold ahead. The antlers lay there, stark against the snow, a testament to his strength and the fleeting nature of glory. They would not go to waste. Mice and squirrels would come, drawn by the rich minerals locked within the bone, gnawing them down bit by bit until only small fragments remained. In this way, the moose's crown would feed the forest that had fed him, a quiet cycle that had repeated for thousands of years. By spring, when the snow melted into streams and the buds returned to the willows, the moose's head would once again bear the first nubs of new antlers, velvet-covered and growing by inches each week. And when the air turned crisp and the rut returned, he would be ready once more to lift his head high and show the forest who he was. For now, though, he walked through the quiet snow, free from the weight of his crown, guided by the wisdom of nature, that even the strongest must sometimes let go to survive, to rest, and to grow again.